Welcome to Feldy. Now get your butt out there and start farming.
Oh, we'll most definitely get out there and start farming. Hello everybody, welcome to Feldy Farming Simulator 11. Wonderful map made by Farmer Yip. Just cycling through all my equipment here. Getting ready to take on whatever needs to be taken on. Probably looks a little different in here than the last time we were in here. I think we just made it through everything. I did a bunch of off-cam work, and I'm down to just a little triangle here of a root crop. This is sugar beet. And I gotta tell you, cranking out this field here has caused me to do a whole lot of... Actually, let me go make sure I have I better make sure everything is started and needs to go. I'll come back to the windrow over here. We're kind of in the cow zone. Do I have anybody at all? No, I guess I don't. I have him over here, but... yeah, I'll need to come back to him too. Alright, maybe let me finish harvesting these beets. Get them all set up here. Now, as I was saying, when you do a long section like this, and, you know, we got this handy-dandy little harvester that we can use in here, but kind of like I mentioned before, it's very hard to see. I mean, you can kind of see, oops, didn't mean to zoom in so much. It's right in this left-hand area. You can see kind of where it's slicing the ground right there. So you know kind of about where you're going to be picking up all the beets, but I don't know how everybody else does it here. For me, it's just been ticklish to try to harvest. I mean, you can see all the areas, you know, that's been skipped, and it just adds a level of tedium, if you will, to pick it all up and make sure everything's been harvested. I'm trying to remember. Let me see here. Just go around back real quick. I think I took care of everything on the reverse side. Yeah, I think I can turn around and go. Yeah, so I got this whole field done. Oh, that guy's probably going to vomit being swung around like that. So I have most of the field harvested. It's just very, very tedious. So, I don't know. Maybe I just don't have enough love for beets or whatever root crops. So I've been searching for a way to make it a little bit easier. And I know I've previously mentioned I have another root crop harvester coming. I think it's pretty well ready to go. The trouble is I just can't afford it right now. It's a self-propelled... what was it? It wasn't a Homer. It was one other brand. Oh, I know what it was, because someone in the comments told me that I've been mispronouncing it, and I think they're right. They said they would pronounce it similar to crimey, and I think I called it grim. You know, I guess in the American language, or American English, that's probably how we would say it, G-R-I-M-M-E. But I've since looked at a couple of YouTube videos, and I think this other gentleman was right, that I've been mispronouncing it. So, sorry about that. I think it's supposed to be grimy, or I think I've heard one of them call it grimmy, even. You know, maybe it depends on which English-speaking country, you know, that would be saying it, or maybe not even. English is besides the point. It's probably whatever country has it and how their local culture renders it. Anyway, I'll have to try to remember that. So I have a self-propelled, I think the grimy one would be, I think it's mainly for potatoes. So whoever put the model together, tried to in-game it, I think they've adapted it to also handle sugar beets. So, but I need to be able to afford it, and I'm not able to do that. So for the moment, I'm stuck with this little Boltco, but we'll eventually we'll get this little triangle done and get the job done. And actually, when I switch to something else, it is solely for ease of doing it. Because right here, I can hardly tell how big of a bite I'm taking out of the field, and so this actually that we're using here would be more advanced machinery than the mod that I'm considering trying. And I've had to do a bunch of work to try to implement this mod in here. Number one, I had to make it handle both potatoes and sugar beets. I think it only previously handled potatoes. And maybe some of you recall it, if you remember in Farm Sim 09, someone made a mod of a trailer. I almost think it was a Polish mod, and I don't know Polish, so I'm not even going to begin to try to pronounce it. But it was basically a trailer, and you could turn on people that would be standing around the trailer. And the people, the intent of having them there was that they would be picking up potatoes that were dug out of the ground and chucking them into the trailer. So I started looking to see if someone had brought this forward to Farm Sim 11. Initially I thought, well, maybe I could do it, and then fortunately I started looking, and sure enough someone else had already done it. And I think it works pretty well. I just had to do some work setting up the map so that it could handle it. And there was another, I skipped something there. There was another spud layer I needed to add so it showed, fresh dug potatoes on the ground and some of those kinds of things. And I did some wrangling with the script, and I made a whole number of changes that I'll show in more detail at some point. And I think there's one more field, if I'm not mistaken, that has, it's not potatoes. It must be sugar beets. It's in this other field. I can't even... if only there was a GPS mod or something, where I could take a full width of, the cutting area of this, so I knew that I wasn't just wasting, because I have a feeling sometimes when I'm running this, I'm only taking, a portion or part of the area that would otherwise be available. And, let's remember, just because you don't see foliage on top of the ground doesn't mean there isn't an area there to cut. Like we're coming to get this right here. Look at that. Didn't even get it. But there may be areas now to get it. Maybe I'll turn it off. Get rid of the character. Got just another dab of beets here. But just because you don't see foliage doesn't mean there wouldn't be an area to cut. It's pretty good, that when the foliage goes, you probably have the crop harvested, but not necessarily. That's only the portion that you see. So it would be really nice if we had GPS or something to help us know where we truly are and where we've cut and haven't. I'm just gonna sneak on down here, and I'll show you where I've been hauling all the sugar beets. Yeah, we finished harvesting this field right here. I did a number of items. Actually, you can just look at it real quick here. So we finished harvesting 9 and 10, and we baled it all, and I think I hauled all the bales. I don't think I have any other bales. Well, yeah, there's the last of the bales here, and our baler dropped because we're trying to do some grass over here. So anyway, I'm gonna come over here. So I cut the grass, I started tedding it. I think this is the one we put it into. Zip around. Let's see if I can back this up. There we go. And I moved the triggers to make there. Yeah, we're already done. So there's some areas in this field we're going to have to plow to really do this right. I'm not sure why those strips are in there, but they are. So we'll need to, when we cultivate, do a little extra work to try to take those out. But I think for the moment, I'm going to just park this trailer over here by this harvester. We may have to pick it up again. I may try to use this other harvester that I have in mind, which is way low tech compared to this. But actually, we can just come see it here real quick. I go into the mods. Let me just sneak down here. Oh, I've had all sorts of fun with this. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. This comes with the mod, and yeah, I'm sorry I can't read that. I have no idea what it means, but having used it, it's a tiny little potato digger. And what it does is it puts spuds up on the ground, and then you use another mod to pick those up. It essentially adds a layer to the map that is recognized by the game, and this one here does the same thing, only it takes a much wider pass. And I've also been modding this here, trying to make it so that you can hire it done. And in the process of doing that, I've learned some things about kind of the scripts of this era of farming sim, and had a whole bunch of hoopla just to get it to do. All I wanted it to do was just hire it done, and it had some issues. I think I need to adjust some prices. There's no way this would cost only $13 in real life. But so anyways, but then there's this little trailer down here, and I won't purchase it now. I don't have the money. But it will have a bunch of guys standing around it, and as you drive it over the ground or pull it over the ground, they will all pick up the potatoes. I wish you could see them picking up the potatoes, but of course you can't. But you can see the static guys in the field. That would be really cool if it was animated, but I don't know how to do that. There are always going to be just certain limitations, no matter what you do. So why don't we, now that we have this harvested, this is quite an interesting field shape wrapping around this rock here. I'm going to come back up here, and I think I'm going to pick up my cultivator, and I'm going to keep him going on that, and get him going. I'm trying to remember, is it only these 3 fields? I think I've done literally everything behind me, so we've left a lot of dirt in the wake of harvest here. Oh, actually, that reminds me, we would have some cultivating to do. Maybe what I'll do, because I'm not over here very often, we'll just take a little jaunt, and it's so steep in here, and it was really challenging in here, I gotta say. Getting it baled, getting it combined. There's a whole saga there, a story to tell, just working with the harvester. I know I had an episode or two where I was talking about autopilot, and I just assumed that when you put in an autopilot, you could continue to use the combine in regular hire mode. Well, it turns out you couldn't, and I had to do a bunch of fixes to try to get that to work. And I came back in here. I know I just recorded an episode where I thought I had it working, but nope, it really wasn't, and it required some more work. Here now, we are kind of in the upper northwest corner, if you will, and we're up here baling. If you recall, we've baled everything off. So there's 2 fields here that are going to regrow. That's the red clover both to the left of us and kind of up in this area, but there was 2 areas we had of OSR. So I think what I want to do is take out the OSR fields. Let me see, get out here. I wish you could see this better from the air, this kind of stubble. Isn't that interesting? You go up here and it's as if it practically doesn't exist. Maybe if I just kept my camera down, you could see it a little bit better. Okay, now this field, let me see, what would be the best way to... I think I'm going to cut a strip along the back. I'm going to do one across the front here too. Kind of go around this rock here. Get rid of an arm. It's always kind of a fine art whenever you're hiring something done, especially in these older versions of Farming Sim, to try to figure out how to get your field covered without having to babysit your equipment. Oh, that's what we do for that. Oh, how did I do that? Accidentally hit Q. Oh, this. I think maybe this time I'll just hit the 1 key. That's kind of what I was trying to do to keep its low speed. We'll get around these rocks here, and then I'm going to cut a strip kind of over to the left. And maybe what I'll do, probably what I should do is just take this straight over. I'll speed him up a little bit. Probably do this little edge here, this little bump. Because if I get him going kind of into this corner, of course, he'll do a couple strips for me, but then he'll not know how to turn around and, yeah, have some issues. And ever since reworking the time it takes for crops to regrow, I've been kind of curious to watch and keep an eye on this red clover. I'm kind of curious to see how long it'll take for it to Oh, I didn't mean to do that. That also is something that'll probably hurt for when he tries to go into higher mode. I can't tell if there's... Oop. Yeah, I just can't tell if it's regrowing yet, but hopefully it is. Anytime you tinker with mods, maps, or whatever, there's always the law of unintended consequences. I think I relearned that, working with the combine and fiddling with the autopilot on it. You can assume something's going to work when you put it on there, but never realize or comprehend where it may be harming some other functionality, that you'd like to have. Because kind of like I was saying, I think it's handy to have the autopilot, if you're doing the outer round, but then I think it's easier than later if you're coming in with the baler to have nice straight rows. And so it'd be nice to switch off autopilot and go to back and forth. Well, that kind of took that functionality away, and I didn't realize it. So now I do. And so I think I have a fix for the combine, a real fix, not the partial one that I was sharing with everybody, and I'll get to that at some point. Alright, now that we've done this, I'm going to hope he can make it through the rest of the field, so we will see. Then I'm going to head out to our grass field and see if we can do some more damage there and get that. So I want to make some more bales. If I recall correctly, we still have, we're 25 grand in debt. And so, got some things to pay off. I'm trying to remember what it was that we purchased. Oh, I know it was. It was haying equipment. And it keeps delaying us from... Yep, he's off and going. It keeps delaying us from fulfilling mission 2. You know, I'll let him sit here for a little while. This is in our cow zone, and you know, if we had cows here, I wouldn't be cutting the pasture for hay. That just wouldn't make sense. It isn't really necessarily something we do in real life unless we add additional pasture. But I'm gonna do it here because I'm just desperately trying to make money to get everything we need. You know, I could probably get him going. Oh yeah, here's the other field of sugar beets. I think there's one more field of those. Man, they're painful to harvest. I could get him going, but I think I'm going to hold off. This field here in particular, I want to reserve for feed stuff to feed to the sheep. I know I'm going to need to give it to them. I just need the equipment to do it, namely the forage harvester. And that's kind of what we've been working on. Here now, we were in the process of tedding the hay, and you know, in the past you saw at least part of this done with that little windrower that I got, and I never could turn it loose, you know, with autopilot. And here's the problem. There's grass in here, and there's grass over here, and it kept looking out of the field and would see grass over here, or grass up here, or grass down over here, and it kept wanting to wander, and so it just wouldn't do it, and I had to just basically manually drive it, if you will, to help it do what it's supposed to do. So I think finally when we got to the middle of the field, it figured it out, or it wasn't able to look that far away. You know, so it finally did what it was supposed to do, but by then the field was, you know, nearly done. So it wasn't really helpful. But this here, of course, where this is just traditional standard hay, which I haven't done any part of, you know, in this map. Bring that off. I think when I back it up, it somehow deletes it. I don't want to do that. Every bit of the baling and whatnot that I've done in here, hundreds of bales, has been, you know, straw. Oh, hey. Here's that little path that takes you around the edge of the map. I know early on we went on and explored. It's horribly bumpy. Some of you commented on that and what I could do to improve it, or that I should improve it. That's how a lot of suggestions come sometime. They say, fix this or fix that, and may never realize just what it takes to do that. I don't like that it deletes some of my hay, but it is what it is. So we're going to make just some regular hay. You know, we've put up the red clover, we've done OSR, and we've baled straw, wheat, and barley, and so forth. This now will finally do some regular hay. Oh, and it brings back so many memories just sitting here doing this. The system is totally different now, obviously. Ever since Farm 17, you know, where they changed kind of the system for how material was put on the ground, it's been totally different. But it's just interesting seeing it again, kind of how it worked back in this era. And you know what? It worked. Got the job done, and it was still a great experience. So I'm looking forward to turning all these into bales. Hopefully I can, as soon as I get done with this here, I'm going to bring in a windrower. I think I was only able to afford a dinky one, so that means it's probably going to take a little... still deleting more hay. I need every bit I can get. And possibly when we have cattle, you know, we'll be feeding them from here. Maybe that's what we use it for, but I figured for now we're kind of in the mode of trying to generate cash, so this is going to just be a sale of cash bales, or bales for cash, if you will. Well, let me check on. Hold on a sec. Alright, my hired guy. Look at that. He is still going. What a good soldier. That's a yellow dot. There's a mod. This era of farming simulator would only let you see yourself on the map wherever you happen to be. It wouldn't point out other equipment that was hired and working. So in those days, Farm Sim 11, there was a mod made by talented modder Decker, a script to show where you may have had hired people working on the map. And it's very handy to be able to pull up a map like this, and when you're in single player, to be able to monitor what's going on in another field. Decker, you know, I think he's British, and I encountered him a long time ago on the modding site forum, if you will, FSU UK, that's no longer in existence, unfortunately. You know, I've never seen a site that has topped what FSU UK had available. And it's really a shame that places like that ultimately failed or had to close. And because, I mean, it's where you can meet people like Decker, where there was learning and sharing of ideas, where you could watch the birth of mods, if I can put it that way. You know, sometimes there'd be whole threads where somebody was working on a mod and they would describe their journey. I mean, this map is a prime example, and I wish, you know, when FSU UK closed, we had a little bit of lead time, and so one of the things I did is I went in and saved a number of posts. I saved all of mine, and another one that I saved was Decker's. I mean, the guy was a walking encyclopedia of scripting. And so there was just a lot of useful information in his posts, and so I wanted to be able to preserve it. And I wish I would have had the presence of mind to take all the posts for Feldy. But I mean, there was just thousands and thousands of posts, so I mean, there's no way a guy could get all of them or remember. Okay, so, you know, I think I'm gonna drop that here, our tedder. Now I need to go get something I'm just gonna head across this field here. Try to stay out of the hedge. So steep. And go pick up a windrower. And honestly, this is what we're trying to pay for right now, is our haying equipment. And I know it makes it seem we're being very slow in fulfilling mission 2. And all it is I'm trying to make money so I have equipment with which to make money. And once I have all that, I think that'll help us get closer to the goal. And then instead of incurring debt all the time to buy equipment, I'll have the equipment already, and I can just go ahead and use it. I'm sneaking across all these fields that need to be cultivated. Looks like our guy in field number 7 is still going, so we'll just continue to keep an eye on him as we continue with our haying over here. I'm trying to think, do I have this going the right way? And right now I'm fading and facing darkness. You know, I would say that is one extra challenge, if you will, for this map. Is, and I maybe have commented on this before, I don't recall. Hold on. What are you doing with my... Aha. Oh, is this what it's gonna do? Okay, well this will be a little bit interesting then. I gotta relearn kind of how this whole thing works. It puts it to the outside, so I guess, yeah, I'm just trying to be careful here for when I come through here with the baler. Why is it changing some of the color? You know, that's pretty interesting. I remember it doing that years ago also, where it would take something that had been tethered, if you will, and it turned it back into freshly cut grass, just like it did kind of right here. That's kind of interesting. I don't know how wide I can get away with. I might end up having to bring the tedder back through here after I bale. And the interesting thing here is if you put cut grass or cut material, tethered material over the top of existing grass that is not cut, I think the way the game worked in this time was it will replace the grass and it will be as if it was cut. Just kind of one of those things that I think they since have fixed that in the game. Oh yes, that's throwing it down in the trees. Blimey, get done with it this outer round. You know what, I'm looking at this. Maybe what I need to do is go the other direction now, and maybe it'll take it. Versus... That's probably what I should be doing. But you know what? We already had our bell ring. Our guy over there in field number 7 is probably just about done. So I think we are close enough to call this as a done episode. So thank you so much for coming along. I realize a whole lot of this is kind of bumbling around as you watch me try to figure out this map. But isn't it a great map? I mean, just look at that. That's a wonderful view. It has some awesome hills in here. There's the fresh tethered grass where nose is down in here. I'm still having a ball in here, and I hope you're enjoying it too. Have a wonderful day wherever you're at, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.